Welcome back to the farm, everybody. Today we're transplanting grape tomatoes, and as you can see, it's snowing. Not the ideal conditions to be transplanting tomatoes, but it's March 10th and it has to get done today. All right, we call this the Grape House because this is strictly for planting grape tomatoes. And instead of using the Dutch bucket system in here, like we do with our other 3 hydroponic greenhouses, we use Millennium Soils coir, coconut coir husk is what it is, ground up and put in these bags you see on the floor. So normally we order bags with 3 holes already punched in the top, but this year we were unable to get them that way, so we had to cut our own holes in the top. So we put 3 holes in each bag. They're 3 feet long, and I'll show you how we plant these grape tomatoes in the coconut coir bags. So the coconut coir bags come like pressed together. It's only 1 inch thick. It's like all dry and hard like a board. And for the last few days we have been rehydrating them. You can see now it's about 4-5 inches, probably 5 inches thick. Here's what the coconut coir husk looks like. This almost looks like wood shavings. So I cut a little X on top of each bag in 3 spots. They've been getting hydrated with a dripper in each hole for the last 3 days, and now they're ready for plants. So we take our plant. We want to make sure there's no plastic flap underneath. So sometimes you get to stretch these holes open a little bit bigger than what I cut them. We want good contact with the bottom of the root ball and the coconut husk. Just like that. Now I'll give this bamboo stake a little shove down in there to kind of anchor it in. We'll take our dripper, put our dripper right into the cube. That one is good to go. As you can see, we have 6 rows in here. Today we are planting the first 4. And the reason we do that is we are spacing our plantings into 2 different plantings. So these last 2 rows, they just got seeded a couple days ago. So they're just now sprouting. They're in my basement under grow lights. These 4 rows would be planted today, and we should be harvesting red ripe grape tomatoes by early May. This greenhouse holds just under 500 plants, about 480 to be exact. So it gives us a pretty decent crop to pick from all summer long. Alright, and just like that, 325 grape tomatoes are planted. The first 4 rows are done. 2 rows left to go. And like I mentioned earlier, these 2 rows, we staged them in 2 different plantings in here. Those were just seeded. They're down in my basement under grow lights. They'll be ready to go in about 6 weeks. By then, these 4 rows will probably be 4 to 5 feet tall. And if you're wondering, these are all determinate plants. They have a determined height. They'll probably grow about 6, sometimes 7 feet high in here. And the varieties that we plant are Jolly Girl and Ruby Crush. I've probably planted 15 or 20 varieties over the last 20 years, and we have settled on Ruby Crush and Jolly Girl. They do the best for us. Okay, well, we're finished in this greenhouse today. Now we're going to head up to another greenhouse and start getting it prepped for transplanting in the next 10 days to 2 weeks. And it just dawned on me that I never discussed putting on the new covers. You saw the old covers getting taken off. It was a nice bluebird day when we took them off, but it was windy and it was impossible to put the new covers on. So yesterday morning, my sons came out at 6 a.m. Actually, I was out here about 5:30 prepping the plastic and getting it rolled out. It was pitch black. I didn't even think about setting the camera up. But we pulled this new cover over just in the nick of time. I think by 10 o'clock in the morning we were completely done. And then the wind started picking up. We fortunately got this all installed and attached before the winds came and took it away. So everything went pretty smoothly. It looks great. Glad to have that done just in the nick of time to get these tomatoes planted today. Obviously you can hear the fan jet running up there. It's a pretty noisy one with this 2-foot convection tube and the 3-inch holes. I think it was the 3-inch holes, maybe they're 2.5s. But it does a great job of distributing the heat from that Modine heater. That's a 300,000 watt heater. And does a great job distributing the heat all the way to the back of the greenhouse. Otherwise, we have to use fans. You know, I do have some electrical outlets there and one on the other side. That I've had fans in the past blowing the heat onto the back, but this is a much better method. There's a quick look at the finished greenhouse. Looks like a brand new greenhouse. Beautiful. And I'm really hoping we get at least 6 years out of that poly. Seems like every 4 or 5 years we start getting holes and tears and punctures from hail, windstorms, snowstorms, you name it. So I'd be very happy to get 6 years out of it, because it's a real pain in the butt changing plastic, and it's expensive, time consuming, not fun. All right, I'll show you what's going on in this greenhouse. We call this one our long house because it's the longest at 148 feet with 1,000 Beto buckets. I went to turn the water on to flush the main lines, and we had a major leak down here. So I mean, this 1-inch PVC pipe was only buried like 2 inches, but I break the line down there. I have a place to take it apart, and I drain all the water after blowing air through. And we can flush the main line right here. You can see a little bit of water made it out and flushed out some of the junk that was stuck on the line. But I was wondering why it wasn't coming out very fast. And lo and behold, big old crack over here. So got it all taken apart, got part of it fixed already. It was busted all the way back to here, so I got all the pieces put back together and put the riser back on. And I couldn't finish it because I needed a 4-foot section there to get that all finished up. So as soon as we get that patched, we can flush some water with oxidate through there to help dissolve all the particles and grime and grit and junk that's in the lines, so it doesn't plug up these little drippers right here. These little woodpecker drippers, they're a ½ gallon per hour drippers. Cost 27 cents a piece, and they go up every year. So there's 1,000 of them in here. So if we can keep from having to replace very many of those, I'd be very happy. So as soon as I get that pipe finished, we'll flush the system, blow out as much junk as we can, and then we'll pressurize the system, and we'll walk up and down each row and check every dripper to see which ones are plugged, which ones are flowing. And then we'll replace the bad ones, and then this greenhouse will be ready for plants maybe 10 days from now. Let's go take a look at those plants. I'll show you the progress on the growth on those. Finally getting some plants emptied out of here. All the grape tomatoes were back there, so it'd be nice not to have to water those by hand anymore. But right now we have about 1,200 tomato plants in here. And you can see they're only about, I don't know, 6 inches tall. They'll need bamboo stakes next week. That is for 3 of the 5 rows in that longhouse we were just in next door. And then this is the second planting that'll finish up the last 2 rows. And you can see we just put these in. They're just little guys, about 3 inches tall. Alrighty folks, this is where we're going to wrap things up here today. In the next video, we're going to be talking about why it's so important to prune the suckers and the fruit clusters on greenhouse tomato plants. So stay tuned for that. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see y'all again real soon down the farm.